Can you hear me?
Yes, Joseph, I can hear you well, very, very well now.
Great. So happy to have you on the show, Rupesh. I'm very excited to have you here. And let's talk about bringing brands beyond Amazon. What's in store for the future? And I think there's nobody better to talk to than you. And maybe you briefly tell the audience who you are, and then we can dive right in.
Sure. Thank you, Joseph, for having me. It's been a pleasure knowing you and chatting with you as a fellow YPOer. Hi, everybody. My name is Rupesh, and I'm into e-commerce business. Our company, as Argod, we are one of the top five sellers online, especially when it comes to selling on marketplaces. We are we have been recognized as one of the fastest growing companies by Financial Times, and we are also one of the fastest growing company in as per Inc. 5,000 list in the United States. We sell over 1 million products, million SKUs across many categories: tools, toys, electronics, furniture, pet products, you name it. We consider ourselves as a category agnostic, where skill of online selling matters more than anything else. So anything with the SKU we can sell. We are a team of over 700 people worldwide, and it's just a great time to be in e-commerce.
Definitely. I think if you look at the performance from last year, that was really a roll on because of COVID, because of the necessity staying at home and then going online to shop. But it's probably also something that stays with us. We will probably not go to the old habits how it was before, because it's just so convenient. And that's something about the trend. So I think when we talked about what is coming and hearing this from you about the future, you had one trend for the industry side, which was consolidation, and I think that's also a very, very interesting topic. Maybe you can quickly allude to that one on the marketplace and consolidation topic on e-commerce.
Sure. So up until 2018, someone investing a very large sum of money into buying an online only company was not very common. After 2018, it like a lot of companies started springing up. Some of them are from current and former YPO who would raise a large amount of investment, and they would they would buy a very high quality companies online, and they would roll them up, take it to international market, optimize it, put a next level of professional touch to it, and saw a great success. So this is, as a e-commerce as an industry, I've seen that trend of consolidation and roll up play is going on very strong. Every country, or every major country has some investment firm that are raising capital to invest into e-commerce or Amazon businesses. And I think there are, like the last I heard, where there are at least 30 companies with more than $100 million in investment that are into the same space. So that's a consolidation trend.
And I think coming then to the second part on the services and market side, what you said is also a kind of local approach, whereas it's not this one global player, but you also have specific investments and consolidation needs in certain markets with certain needs. And this comes down, I think that's a huge chunk of the investment part is IT infrastructure. And the one part you mentioned is delivery time, service times. And that's one of the important things, having scale, having the ability then to fulfill those lead times, which we all are now used to.
Absolutely. So there is a fundamental shift in the way consumer shops. Growing up as a kid, I used to remember if my parents were to tell me that I got a toy for you, my instant answer would be, "Hey, can you please show me?" Now, when I tell my kids that, "Hey, I got a toy for you," their instant the next question would be, when is it arriving? So
Mm.
that generational shift has happened before we know it, that all the consumers are expecting that like people will shop online, and the best way to get what they want is through deliveries, and companies have recognized it, and any company that does a faster and reliable delivery is going to be winner, is going to be the legs up in this industry. And that is why, like, we have seen Amazon.com starting from 2 day prime shopping to same day to few hours in certain areas. And yes, faster delivery time is a one major incentive for customers to buy online, like on your website, helps you
And
stand
it,
out.
and it's not only, and I think that's some things that we covered in shows before was what is the investment? Is it to buy drones? So is it really the logistics side? And I like therefore the toy idea, because toys is a market where I know there are things going on with 3D printing and doing printing centers, and therefore like cutting the complete supply chain part on the production side out for faster and delivery circle. So it's even a kind of service part where, of course, investment is important, because you cannot build a 3D printing factory without having the funding and having the scale.
That is correct. And that is like, I mean, 3D printing will become a mature idea over time. Right now, I think even though 3D printing might have advanced to an extent, but it is still most of the time it's a single material printing. So you cannot sort of put two different types of material together, which is
Mm.
kind of essential to make most of the products. So
Yeah.
3D printing will take some time, but yeah, I mean, as you said, that like the right investment, probably like as an e-commerce company, I think drones delivery would come faster than the 3D printing.
Yeah, it's a kind of a I did a project there back in the days on some parts, also toy industry, where the question was, because the lead times for those toys, and depending on what kind of toys it is pretty long out of Asia, and
Correct.
then having the ability to fulfill on demand parts, and it just depends on the pricing, of course, and then yeah, and then where you are and what people are willing to pay. But especially with toys, where you have, like I said, one component, like a Barbie doll. Of course, Barbie dolls have hairs, but there are certain other elements, or the other toys, Star Wars stormtroopers, which are all plastic. that could be something. But yeah, just as a part, because I know that's heavy investment. So that's something which is very difficult to do out of the operational business side.
Absolutely, and it is going to happen. You are like I concur with you that this single material printing is going to be like, I mean, it's gonna be a norm. As you rightly said, that like when you have a one single figure toy that you can just play with, might as well print it at home or some nearby massive 3D printing centers.
Yeah. And so the other part, and I think that's where we will spend some time of, and I really like that reference by you when you said the other part between speed. So one is speed and delivery availability, and the other thing is giving the service, giving a personal shopping experience and a personal consultation in that sense. And you referred to the TV shopping model, which is in many countries still successful, and actually during the pandemic also was very successful, because as a medium, TV was viewed a lot. It is still viewed in many countries. So not all countries are only watching Netflix, but there are some countries which are watching still a lot of TV and then shopping TV. So how does that transition to the online model?
Great. So I think this is one model that is so amazingly scalable that almost every one has a capabilities to broadcast live video if they wanted to. And I mean, like in the TV world, it was one host selling multiple products. But now think about it this way: that like if everybody has their own expertise, and if you can bring in the audience that are either attracted by personality or by product, you have a customized audience for the customized product, and that can translate very well. I mean, the way Amazon has created pages for every product, and there is also landing pages for every brand. I'm sure it is a matter of time when we would have a kind of a video channel for like every seller, and that it would be a live selling kind of an infotainment model, where it is a information, some sort of a entertainment, some sort of a wow factor, and then selling under it. Everybody, like many sellers, would find their own unique way to stand out, either by offering some sort of an extra that would attract consumer to their brand. So I think that model of live selling is already very popular in some parts of Asia, and I believe that it will be coming to Western world in next few years.
Yeah, and actually, so one company which already listened to you, and this is Amazon, just bought MGM, and as a big production company. So besides producing movies and doing product placements, that also gives the infrastructure to do production. Because I think that's the difference when you talk about live shopping events to social shopping, which is the Instagram influencer side. The live shopping as a QVC or 123 TV in Germany, and all the shopping centers in Italy, in Spain, and so on. They produce content. They're actually a production company. They have scripts. They have like movie stars, star sellers who have a show. So that's I mean, my kids love to watch Sally's World, which is a cooking show. And I mean, of course, everything that they want to buy in the grocery store is branded with Sally's World. Yeah, that's just
Exactly.
that's yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like we don't like when we think about it, is how many YouTube star that we know or our kids know that would not have been possible. Like I mean, earlier like TV was a one to many medium. Now with the YouTube or internet, it is like many to many model. And as you can see that yes, there will be lot of live demonstration of the products, cooking show. Imagine your conversion rate, like talking about cooking show, like your conversion rate is going to go very high if you show them how to use a specific those spices that they are going to purchase. I mean, talk about it. So yes, it is going to be very different in the
But
future.
but how do you see that? I mean, and looking at your business and your focus there, because I think there has to be a very narrow line, or there has to be a line between this social selling, which is done by a person who is not professional, or at least who wants to have a close relationship with their followers and who is trying to just show things in a sense which are cool, or which are not corporate. But on the other hand, if you talk about live shopping, that's professionally produced content in a sense, with somebody professionally showing the mixer and selling that to an audience, selling socks or selling all kinds of daily necessities. And that content has to be produced, it has to be paid, and somebody has to be behind that. Do you think that will be in the hands of the brands, or is that more like in TV shopping, an own ecosystem, which again then also brings in own products next to certain branded products?
I I would say that it is going to be primarily with brands because in I'm sort of projecting it from what it is today. So Amazon as a seller, like I mean, it would not be. I mean, let's assume that Amazon is a seller with the celebrity status where everybody
Mm,
knows Amazon, but there are brands and the seller inside Amazon ecosystem who actually outsells Amazon on a different by different means, either be it through search engine optimization by producing a more polished and professional content than Amazon would. So I think if brand invests money into this professional selling, they would uh, they have a capacity to bring lot more audience. And second thing is that brand, of course, brand would know what their audience are, so they can match the host with the audience. For example, a toy company brand bringing in someone like a Ryan showing how the toy works is going to work
mm,
better than some adult celebrity.
mm. Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
I
that
believe that
that's for
the
sure.
brand will control that more than anything else.
And do we have, you mentioned other countries who are doing that, and I mean, one of the countries we both know is China. Can you give us an example how they do it, and are there already other countries that are actually jumping on that model?
So I believe that Taobao, which is owned by Alibaba, is this you can, I mean, if I'm not shopped on Taobao, so but like if I spent a decent time reading about it, so if I can explain it, it is like a large shopping mall with each brand with their own customized shop set up inside that Taobao mall. And they, like, yes, they can do a live streaming of the video. So, I mean, sort of imagine walking into the mall and see that there are somebody setting up a live sampler or live trial sort of a setup, and customers kind of getting attracted to it. I think it's similar things are happening inside Taobao and on many other websites in China, where this kind of selling, entertainment plus information selling is prevalent. So, I mean, we know it's happening in China, and as far as I know, India not so much yet, but other uh, East Asian countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, yes, Singapore, it is kind of catching up. I mean, as what I hear from my friends, somebody from that region can probably comment better, but it is catching up in all that region, especially Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and so on.
Yeah, and I think my experience so far was that it's a nearly a two-level situation. So the one is that you have a live presentation and a live feed by an actor or by somebody, but who is doing a real good show. And on the other hand, you also have the possibility to really interact more or less real time with the agent. So you have actually a two-level system, which again, when I shop on Amazon today, I just have like the comments by other users, the most frequently asked questions. So I have a very static content presentation. Whereas when I look at the Taobao site and looking at and how shopping is done there, then you have a very dynamic content and a very dynamic interaction possibility up to like receiving the product in that sense. Yeah, and that's an interesting push to have. But of course, models are different. And China, maybe to say that, China never did like an Instagram with this social. So you don't have the split that we have with this social selling on an Instagram versus corporate selling on an Amazon. In that.
And absolutely, very well said, Joseph. And talking about this transition of selling, like I mean, of course, all of us have now seen internet evolved over last 20 years. I mean, I remember a time when content or keyword was a king to selling. Like you put a keywords into inside your content, and like you will get a audience. That moved to the, like, now that Amazon started allowing more than like multiple images for the product. So now everybody had a little bit next level of richer content. Then it went to the video, and from video it would go to the live selling. So it just sounds like a very logical next step, the way internet has been evolving over last 20 years. So definitely it's gonna happen.
But what? So maybe that's a more question on your side. So that means in the past, your main investment was in warehouses, stock, fulfillment capabilities, visibility, transparency, where products add to have convenience for the consumer. Does that mean one of your main investment aspects for the future is actually producing content and investing in a professional studio and doing something completely different actually to sell?
I think this would be an additional investment that a brand would have to make and achieve the scales, because I think I mean, I still see, at least in the I'm from Houston, Texas, and I still see that it is very hard to get space for the warehouse here, additional space, or sometimes a new racking system. I mean, there are more than one factors to it, but sometimes racking system takes weeks to get delivered and installed. Finding a forklift is almost highly difficult task. So point is, yes, a lot of these things are very difficult, if not impossible, to get at this point. So the investment in warehouse is going to remain constant, but in addition, we'll have to invest into richer content for the customer.
Yeah, that's a very interesting development because, like I said, it's something the last few years was more about operational excellence in a sense, and then that's very different from content creation and actually, yeah, doing this to the customer in that
Correct.
sense. Maybe it's a good time. We have nearly 28 minutes to ask if there are some questions from the audience. Are there any questions for Rupesh that you want to post on that we should discuss, or you want to know something special? Please post it now, or otherwise post it in the show notes. We are happy to answer there. And maybe one part, you said there are many sellers in Amazon who are actually doing better than Amazon as a reseller, and I mean that was one of the topics I had with Armin a few shows back, was this P1 to P3 model. Which level are you actually on as a brand, and which are you most comfortable performing on? Where do you see the future there? In a sense, do you always have to run parallel, or will there be even a P4 model?
I think the model will directly depend on, it would be in line with the investment that brand is willing to make. Because lot of time, as the, like, I mean, lot of, like, what work today may not work a year from now. So what I've realized is that larger brand has a deeper pockets to make investment in terms of launching product, advertising product, getting that professional presentation. So lot of it is in proportion to investment that brand is willing to make. And but the one thing is that it is not, I mean, at the same time, it is not like, for it, it is possible. Amazon and lot of these technologies available has made it possible to, for anyone to create a brand. I mean, brand used to be kind of a
Exclusive,
prerogative of few. Right now, there is this just a much larger pool of brands.
Yeah, it's a much larger pool of brands, but I completely understand the topic you said about this hyperscaler model, and we see that in because we're producing hardware, so in a sense we're very boring. But again, in hardware investment is also something you have to invest up front, and it's something which is there to stay. And we see that the large brands like McDonald's, Nike, Adidas, so like some really global brands with a big recognition, they also understood that holding their data and doing a deeply customized hardware and software approach is their way. It's a lot of upfront investment, but in the end, it enables you to have a very dedicated customer journey and in a very efficient one, and being the master of your customers and your complete customer experience thereof.
I so completely agree that, in fact, we just recently acquired a brand called Visari, um, Visari, and the brand is into sorry, the brand is into soccer for kids. So they make soccer shoes, jerseys, shin guards, soccer balls, and all. So once we acquired brand, we realized that in such a small niche, how much winning a small brand like can do against a global player like Nike and Adidas. It's matter
Hmm.
of smart selling, and obviously those brands also understands that they, like, I mean, like this small, relatively small brand to them can eat away their market share, and they are also wising up. And as I think last time when I saw that Nike numbers when it was released to the public, I think they achieved a highest ever sales through their online distribution model, D2C model, than they ever did. So that shows that they are very serious about selling directly to consumer and making investment to achieve that.
Yeah, I think for many big brands in the past, it was every retailer counts in the past, and now it's really every consumer counts or every customer counts. Which I mean, that was a blank spot for many of them because they didn't even know who their consumers were. When I ran a household device company, we didn't know. So our marketing was saying, okay, we believe this is our customer group, but we had no data. We just started then collecting data out of the repair and warranty claims. That was the only data we could gather on who actually our customers were. And it was completely wrong. So the marketing thought it was male and this age and this part, but actually it was female and it was completely different. Yeah? So that's really eye opening. No,
Absolutely.
so maybe we are already at 34 minutes, and I think it was a great discussion to have. We didn't have any comments, but that might come later on. But it was a real pleasure to have you on the show, Rupesh, and
Oh,
I hope to be able to meet soon, latest beginning of or in February for the retail summit. So that will be really nice. Oh, we have a question from Christine Wagner. What impact can customer reviews and endorsers, also from others, thinking of Ryan, have? How can this be included or to be enriched to traditional brand communication? We would not expect the same as on any other channels, right? Maybe you answer. I have a view, but let's hear yours first.
sure. So, like it's I see three questions in one. Thank you, Crystal, for the comment. So, what impact can customer reviews and endorsers have? And I think it's a, I mean, in my opinion, this is like a kid selling to kid. So definitely, I mean, my kids know Ryan by name, and it has kind of become a brand name, so to speak, at least in this part of the world among the kids. So I think it can have a massive impact, and no wonder some of the brands came with Ryan endorsed brand. And how can this be included to encircle with traditional brand communication? So that my last line answers that question. That lot of brands started putting Ryan on their packing box and kind of endorsed by Ryan, or he has own line of products. So I think traditional brands are getting wised up that this influencer have audience, and they need to serve them, and we would not expect the same ad as on other channels. not sure what it means, but I think influencer marketing is going to here to stay. And now a lot of things are moving to what they call micro influencer market, where even a small influencer is kind of enticed to endorse the brand. So if that covers the answer.
Yeah, yeah. I think I completely agree there. The thing that I see as a brand, and this is something we also see on physical retail, is that before you had maybe one traditional channel, and then you had social media channels which you just started to use, and now you have to merge them and be more flexible and add more channels. And in the physical stores that we see is also, before you had one business model, which was your physical store, and now you have to start to say, okay, I need space for click and collect. I need space for a more in-depth experience, and then I might need a space for additional service offerings. So actually you have the same building, but you have more channels to cater from, and that will be a big challenge for the brands to go or to use that in the future. No, great. So I think we covered everything. Philip, no problem if you were late. You can also watch the show later on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. Great, Rupesh. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure, and see you soon.
It was pleasure having you, Joseph. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thanks.